Hey, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
All right, trying to figure out my video thing here.
Camera's not working?
Yeah, well, usually I have a picture up, and it does, but I'm trying to. I'm in a precarious spot, so I might just keep it off.
All right, no worries.
Where are you out of? What's your name? I don't even know your name. I'm Drew Nealon. I'm out of the Lexington office.
My
Mm,
name is Darren. I'm the productivity coach at Keller Williams Greater Hartford, and we're now known as Keller Williams Legacy Partners. So,
nice.
yeah. So, how long have you been in real estate?
Well, I've lived in houses all my life.
Okay,
Um, I joke
that's
about that.
good.
Anyway, I've been with Keller Williams since March.
Okay, perfect. What do you think so far?
I love it.
Good.
I haven't made a sale yet, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that'll come in time. It's not as though, you just all of a sudden, jump in and the next day you got a transaction. Rarely does that happen, but you got to work on it, and that's how you build your business.
Right.
Absolutely. So, what's been one of the biggest ahas that you've gotten out of Ignite so far?
Lead generation, just following up with everything. It's the systems are in place, and just doing the process of following up and getting all the information into command. Um, the you know I think it's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of challenges. I'm not the biggest tech guy, so I've been on with this guy Mike. He's our tech guy in our office,
Okay.
just for certain stuff like that. But that's been my biggest challenge right there. Um, but
Technology.
it just I'm still learning, always learning.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're going to find that technology, it may seem like it is going to be a sticking point just because it's very overwhelming, but it's actually going to be your best friend. And this is what's
right,
pretty much going to drive your real estate business because the sooner you embrace it and the sooner that you jump in and do this, you're going to have a better understanding of how to run your business, and you're going to have a better overall sense of how to be more efficient and how to do more things. And the quicker that you jump in with both feet and just be like, all right, I got to learn this command stuff and do that, the better off you're going to be.
right.
Hey, Marilis, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry.
It's okay, no worries. Getting everybody together, so no worries.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Gotta rename me.
Yeah, I just thought that my own too. So it's Friday. That's good, you know.
I had a hard time getting in. For some reason, it kept asking me for a meeting ID.
That I'm
I
not
don't know
sure.
why, but whatever.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
here now, thanks to Brooke.
terrific.
I just emailed you and said, what's the ID number?
Okay, all right. I did not see that come
Yeah,
across.
it's okay.
All
It's all
right,
good.
okay.
How are you today, Darren?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Great, thank you.
Good.
So I'm going to assume that you're the lead, correct? And you're going to kind of do your thing.
No, I was going to give it to you, as a matter of fact. Are you
No,
kidding
I
me?
didn't think you were.
I've already done this multiple times. I don't need to do this. Well, I'd rather give somebody else the experience. So, Bonnie, you can gladly take the reins. Go right ahead.
No, I'm happy to listen because I'm doing Ignite in my market center soon. So
Oh, okay.
I'm going to
Terrific.
move this over to here.
This would be good practice for you then, if you want.
No, I'm happy. But I'll help. I will help because I love buyer consultation. So
Yeah.
I'll help. I'll be
We'll
here. You
make,
can use me for whatever you need to use me for. How's that sound?
yeah, that's fine. I've got the presentation. I've got the stuff.
Yeah.
I've done this multiple times in the past, so it's not a big deal. So just jump in whenever you want.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'm going to bring I have a double screen here. I'm going to bring the buyers, the participants up also, their little booklet.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Drop it in the chat.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I can get my computer to do its thing. Oh, there we go.
Who else do we have here from KW New England? Somebody else?
No.
That would be Nina. I am the MCTT helping you guys out today.
Okay, all right, so you'll be, you're focusing on the command stuff, I'm assuming, right, then? You want to do that?
Yes, sir. Yep. Anything you need on that side.
Well, I know we got a segment in here where you jump in to actually cover the buyer consultations, and
Sure.
then the presentation. So if you want to jump in, share your screen at that point, when we get to that point, that would be terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was on a team for about 2.5 years, and all I did was like buyer leads and stuff like that. So
Good.
that's another reason why I joined in. I figured I'd have a little bit to help out with.
Absolutely, absolutely. As we go through, just jump right in. Let's make it
right.
conversational style here. That would be terrific.
Yeah, that would be good.
Huh.
I know I did this 2 weeks ago. We had about 45, 50 people that were on here. I don't know if anybody knows what that number is now, typically.
Yeah, we had 70 on one of the classes.
Good. Okay.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I think that was the one for seller leads.
All right. So it must have been me then. People dropped off when they found I was teaching. So that's, there you go.
Mhm. Darren, where are you out of?
I'm in the central Connecticut area. Great
Okay,
Hartford.
great.
Mhm.
I'm in New Hampshire.
Good.
I'm doing value proposition on Monday at my market center.
It's a good one. It's a good one. So
Yeah.
you guys are running it concurrently in your market center and doing it?
Yeah, they started in the market center before this one started.
Okay.
And because they're not doing it every day, they're doing it in once a week. So,
Okay. All right.
but they'll probably chime into the New England one next time instead of doing it locally here. We only do it for 2 hours.
Okay. Yeah, we do this every other month in the region.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Leverage it as much as you can.
How do you like the new Ignite versus the old Ignite?
It's good. I think it's just a cleaned up version of what they had before. They have a few, a few different things here and there, but I think it's good. I think it's more streamlined either way.
Right. I agree with you. Yeah.
It's good. More time for reaching out, connecting with folks, doing the lead gen, which is good.
Yep. I agree.
Now it's 9 o'clock.
Yep.
We got 10 people so far. All right. 3 of them are people, so that's good. Should be playing music. I know Jen was good for that. Jen Bovey's good for adding music in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So is there anybody that's here right now that wants to share something that they've learned up to this point in Ignite? Anybody have any thoughts on that? Hopefully people have learned something, getting something out of this. Biggest takeaway. Anybody want to share their biggest takeaway so far?
To me, it's just about being consistent. It's getting up every day. And it's all about the prospecting and marketing is the biggest word. If you can't, right? If you don't have an active funnel, a sales funnel, you're nowhere. So this prospecting every day may not be fun, but you really got to start and keep filling the funnel. No?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Lead gen is your best friend. And lead gen is the solution to every problem that you have. You know, you don't have any money coming in, you lead gen. Okay. You're not busy enough, lead gen. You got a problem client? Oh, that's good. Lead gen, get more clients. That way you don't have to worry about that one. So that's the solution to pretty much everything you do there.
Yeah,
And without lead gen, you don't have a business, right?
that's a fact.
Yeah. Every day that you don't lead gen, you can basically go out on your calendar, go out 60 to 90 days and just put in no business.
Yeah.
Now, think about it. I mean, we're independent contractors, which means we run every facet of our operation. So we're the chief executive officer, we're the chief information officer, we're the chief marketing officer, the CFO, you know, I mean, everyone and anyone. But if you don't do that lead generation on the sales side, you got nothing. We'll give this another minute or two, and I'm sure we'll probably have people coming in. This will start. There we go. We got some music to start off then. That's good. All right. Does everybody have their beverage of choice this morning? Hopefully it's caffeinated, right? Not that I'm going to put you to sleep. I just want to make sure that everybody's just vibrant and awake. It's the end of a long week, right? A lot of learning, a lot of teaching going on. Or if you choose to start off with an alcoholic beverage, I mean, that's your choice right there. It may actually make it easier when we're teaching. So. All right, got a few people are coming in. Good.
Trouble getting in, so some people might be having some trouble getting in.
Oh, really? Is it
Yeah.
is there an issue?
Oh, yeah, here they all come.
Good. All right, so tell you what, why don't we actually get started just in the interest of time and out of respect for everybody else who's here on time. So let's get started then, shall we? My name is Darren. I am the productivity coach here in Central Connecticut. We go by, our market center is Keller Williams Legacy Partners. I've been in with Keller Williams for about 2.5 years in the productivity coaching role. Prior to real estate, I was actually the stunt double for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So just as, you know, probably recognize that already, I'm figuring anyways, but beyond that, real estate has been actually something that's been very, very, you know, just a strong passion of mine. And the biggest part is actually helping new agents get into production, because when I started at another firm and they had nothing like this. And it was basically a matter of fumbling and stumbling and just trying to figure out what this business was like. Took me 9 months, which would seem like a waste of time. So having something in place that allows you to learn the business and learn it the right way from the beginning is extremely beneficial. And if you don't realize that, if you don't think that, just go to any other firm and ask them what they do to prepare their agents, and you'll probably get a blank look, at least at this point. So we'll be going through buyer consultations today, but actually before we get started, let's introduce the other folks that are going to be helping to teach today. So Bonnie, want to jump in?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Happy to see you all here. I'd like to see all your faces, but I'll take the ones we have. And I have been in the real estate profession for 36 years. Absolutely love what I do, have done it full time, you know, been through all the ups and downs. And I can't say enough about our profession. And as long as you do your lead generation, as we know, that's the key. So I'm happy to be here and happy to help Darren out this morning. Thank you.
Absolutely. Nina, you want to jump in?
Hi, I am Nina. I am an MCTT and ASC and full-time agent at my market center. I feel the same way you did, Darren. I love helping out new agents because even though I was on a team when I first came into the business, he still wasn't the best rainmaker or team leader. So I was stumbling, bumbling, same thing, had a long learning curve and didn't like that at all. And I came from being in the military before that. So I kind of like things in place and in their place. And that's not how it happened. So I'm excited to help. I can help you out on the technology side throughout this, getting your buyer's agency, you know, your consultations and your packages ready to sit down with that buyer. But I also have a lot of buyer experience because I did leads through the ugly Z word and for a long time. So I'm really happy to be on this one and help out. My passion is helping out these new agents because it was tough for me too.
There you go.
And I've been in the business for about 5 years now. So I still know the sting and the feel of what it's like to be brand new and go, oh my gosh, where's my next commission coming from? So I still have that little bit of a, oh, what are we doing?
There you go. Nice. There you go. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. So we are going to actually jump in and get going on this. So can everybody see the screen right here?
Yep, looks good, Darren.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So we got started on the right foot. So this is good. All right. What we're going to be talking about today, we're talking about buyer consultations. And a lot of times agents, especially if they're new, gravitate towards working with buyers because they assume it's easier, right? You know, the dreaded listing. We don't want to go on that. We don't have the experience. We don't have the knowledge. You know, yes, buyer consults may seem easier, but if you don't do the preparation, if you don't do the work in the beginning, they could become a waste of time. It could actually end up being a disaster for you too. So we're going to go through all the things that are necessary to have a very efficient and a very productive buyer consultation here. We're going to utilize scripts. We're going to utilize command, the buyer presentation that's in there. And we're going to make sure that you have everything you need so that you can go through these buyer consultations. You can actually get business from them and you can actually make it productive. But don't neglect the part, the listing side. The other thing everyone here has to realize, especially if you're brand new, is that it may seem scary to be in this business and to do this and to have to meet with clients and have all this go on, because when you take the class, the real estate licensing class, they pretty much scare the hell out of you and basically say, okay, this is what you shouldn't do. And this is what's going to happen if you do that. So your confidence level is low coming out. Don't worry about that. You still know more than 90% of the people that are out there. You've got a very solid, strong base. So you learn the book smarts. This class right here, both Spark and Elemental in Ignite, is going to give you the street smarts in terms of getting you into business, having the right conversations, and building your business the right way. So have confidence in yourself. You know, learn from what you have here every day. There's valuable information that's going to help you to build your business and put it into practice. Best thing you can do once you learn this is to actually take action. That's the biggest thing here too. All right. So we've got this running list here from Ignite that we put up every single day. And we say, all right, what are the ways that successful agents grow their business and run their business? Okay. When they grow their business, they're constantly working on their buyer presentations and their listing presentations. That's something that is key. You're always updating and changing and modifying and customizing, and you're putting that presentation together so that you are actually presenting yourself in the best light. You're presenting your value proposition, and you're basically letting that person on the other side of the table know that you are the best person for the role. You are the best person to handle their real estate needs. But if we don't do this on a day in and day out basis, we're not going to grow our business. So any successful agent that you have out there is consistently working on their buyer presentations and working to get listings. Okay. So one of the things that we are going to do is we're going to actually be talking about the entire process, right? And we want to get into all the different steps that go into having a successful buyer consultation. One of the things that you're going to have to remember here is that we're not out there to sell ourselves short, and we're not there to accept any business that comes in, and we're not going to be desperate enough so that we are going to sacrifice everything for business. All right. We are professionals. We're licensed professionals. And if we're working with somebody and they're not willing to commit to us, then don't worry about it. Move on. Do more lead generation. Get more things in place. One of the things that you have to remember that, and it's a line from a movie, that if you're good at something, don't ever do it for free. And if you have the right buyer consultation, you will make sure that you get paid for the work and the effort that you put into that as well. Okay. And the first thing that you want to do is obviously set the appointment, right? Setting the appointment is one of the critical parts of what we do in our lead generation, right? You can talk about leads, you can talk about contacts all day long. And when we did our goal setting, we had that in there. We talked about how many leads we needed, how many contacts we needed, right? But critically, the thing you want to focus on is appointments. How many appointments do you need per week? Because that's going to actually lead to the agreements. The agreements are going to lead to a transaction. The transaction will hopefully lead to a closing. Okay. So focus on the appointments, setting the appointments. That's going to be the biggest thing right there. All right. So in setting the appointment, all right, what are we hoping to accomplish? If we're working with buyers, we know that somebody wants to buy and we want to set the appointment. What are we looking to accomplish when we set these appointments? Yes, I asked you a question right off the bat. So we're starting early here for participation.
Get them to like sign a buyer agreement, get them as like a client.
Yep, absolutely. That's the ultimate goal. Why is that important?
That you can represent them and get them to the closing table.
Right, absolutely. But what's more important than even that?
Get them started on a search and get them into houses and actually looking.
Yep, absolutely. All of that is correct. You know, but
And that you're not
ultimately,
doing, yeah, that you're not doing all this work and then they sign with someone else.
Right.
You're not wasting your time.
so that you don't do work and not get paid. You want to do the work and get paid, right? Is anybody in this business to, work for free? Is this a hobby for anybody that they really prefer not to get the money at the end? I know there's cameras off, but I don't see anybody raising their hands, right? So we don't work for free. We shouldn't work for free, right? So a lot of this has to do with you making sure that if you are committing to somebody, okay, that they're committed to you at the same time. So that number one, they can get the house of their dreams or whatever it may be. But then also two, that you can get paid for the work that you're putting in there, right? Ultimately, we're going to build a business where we're getting a consistent paycheck, whether that's one closing a week, two closings a month, whatever it may be, whatever your goal is. But we're working towards making sure that we're building a viable business, right? This isn't volunteer work. We're there for, us to actually build something that's substantial, okay? So in going to set the appointment, all right, what are some of the questions or what are some of the things that we may want to be looking for when we're talking to them in the beginning? The dreaded second question. Oh my God. Wow.
Their information, if they're pre-qualified.
Yep, absolutely. How are they going to pay for the home, right? Definitely. A good question. What else?
How soon they're looking to move?
How soon they're looking to move? Sure. Definitely. Absolutely. Very valid. What else?
If there's anyone else that they'll be purchasing with.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you've got all of the interested parties there at the same time if you're going to meet with them, right? Very good. What else? Anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to ask, so when you're, this is not a normal market, and just been involved in some transactions that the asking price was one thing, but then the buyer had to come up with like $70,000. Buyers have to come up with all this extra money. And I think the question I have and the interesting thing is when you are meeting with a buyer, how many people right now are really kind of letting the buyer know the reality side that because we as agents don't want to waste our time. And if people don't know the market in the sense of having to come up with this extra cash somehow, then how do you present that? Because you could be wasting your time. There's no, just because it's full price, I'm going to offer full price. It doesn't matter. There's over asking right now and the numbers are huge. So you have to have some way to get that money, relatives, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the magic word right there is expectations, right?
Yeah.
You lay out expectations as part of that appointment. So expectations are pretty much your ground rules for doing business with this person and your communication style and, what's currently going on in the market, right? So number one, okay, when are you actually doing showings? We talked about time blocking. Everybody should have a very viable time blocking schedule that's out there that talks about your lead gen time that's blocked off. Okay. Talk about your training time, when you go on appointments, when you do showings, all of that. So they know when you're available for showings. Okay. Number two, communication style. How often do you communicate? When do you communicate? What do you say? Okay. Another thing, third thing, what's going on in the market right now? If you don't tell them that it's currently a seller's market, majority of the market that's out there, and they're going in and they're placing offers on houses, and they don't get them because they're in competition with 8, 9, 72 people in one house, right? Okay, then they're going to be flustered. They're going to be wondering what's going on, right? Don't automatically assume that they know what's happening, right? Lay that out there. Let them know. Talked to 2 people last week, and I told both of them, I said, listen, just be prepared to look at multiple houses, to put in multiple offers, okay, and to be disappointed multiple times, all right? It's the nature of the market, and we only can work with what we can work with, but that's what's going to happen, right? So laying out those expectations as part of that meeting is critical, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well too. But that was a good question there, Brian. Very good, very good. That basically led into what we want to do. But so if we take a look at our lead generation model, is everybody familiar with the lead generation model that we have here? Okay, it follows the same format, follows the same basically principles as we saw in the goal setting session, in that pipeline that's in the opportunities, okay, in command. All of this ties in, right? We do our prospecting and our marketing so that we basically reach out to leads, make sure that we talk to them, have those real estate conversations so they become contacts, right? We cultivate that conversation. It may be an immediate need where, hey, we're looking to buy tomorrow. Okay, or maybe we're getting things set up and we want to buy at some point towards the end of the summer. Whatever it is, once you understand that time frame, okay, then you set the appointment. Okay, the appointment is the biggest thing. Like I said, leads, contacts, those are arbitrary numbers. You're going to start to dial in what it's going to take in terms of how many conversations you need to have before you get an appointment. But the appointment is a critical thing. If we don't have appointments, we don't have anything else in the process. So always be looking to set appointments. When you have conversations with people, find out where they are in the real estate process, set the appointment, and then go from there. Get more information. Okay. All right, that's why the appointment is critical. Okay. We got stereo going on here. All right. Any questions on this so far? Everybody good? Those of you with cameras, we're good?
I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead.
They have to sign the agreement when we have the appointment?
Yeah, we'll go through that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And another question is, how do I know, like, do they need to be pre-qualified before we sign that?
Yeah, and we'll talk about that too. Like, that's exactly
Okay.
what we want to, those are the conversations we definitely want to have. Yep, you got it.
Okay, great.
Very good. Very good. Hey, I think I owe you money because you're leading us into the next part of the conversation. So that's good. That's good. So Bonnie, Nina, is there anything that you want to add up to this point at all? No, we're good.
One thing that I always like to cover, and because this market's so crazy and they have bargaining with somebody, because if it's not your sphere, you really have to ask that question, because I don't like this saying, but buyers are liars. And really nail down if they've been seeing other houses with other people, because I hated that. People would poach my clients, and I said, I'm not in the business of stealing business from another realtor. So you're working with somebody, solidify that relationship, or if you don't like them, you need to break up with them before I start working with you.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is what you always do is you ask them, are you working with another agent? That's always the first question. Are you working with another agent? And if they are, have you signed anything? No, then continue and get them to sign with you. And I did put the buyer lead sheet in the remarks under the chat so that you have that. It's in your Ignite toolkit. Thanks, Darren.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about like what happens at the appointment, later on. But those are great points right there. There's 2 critical questions that I always tell folks to ask when you're working with a buyer. Okay, and it just basically summarizes what Bonnie and Nina just said. Number 1, okay, do you have a signed agreement with another agent? Yes or no? If you do, then you know something, I want to honor that on a professional relationship. And I want to make sure that you talk to them and you work with your agent. If not, okay, go to step 2. Okay, if we did find the house of your dreams, how are you looking to pay for that? Do you have cash? If so, great. Then we just want to make sure we have some sort of proof of funds, which is a copy of a statement of, let's see, wherever you have the money, and you can even cross out the account number just as long as it has a name on there and it shows the amount, okay, or maybe even a couple of accounts. Or if they have to get a loan, okay, now is the perfect time to basically go into your vendor list and talk about the lenders that you have. So we have Keller Mortgage, you may have some other folks depending on other programs and things that are out there. Offer up 2 or 3 different options, okay? Send them to them. And here's the critical thing too, is don't rely on them to take the next step, all right? Set up either a 3-way conference call, 3-way text. Say, listen, at 2:30 this afternoon, my lender X is going to reach out to you. You know, will you promise me that you'll take the call? Something along those lines. Because if you rely on them, people are busy, right? I know Nina said liars are buyers. Buyers might be lazy too. Okay, so just make sure everybody's got things going on. Just make sure that we get along in the process, because this is another critical indicator. They're dragging their feet and they won't do that. And you have to keep chasing them and they won't commit to that. That tells you right there what that process is going to be like. And if you have that one client, and that's the only client you have, you're going to be chasing them down, chasing them down, chasing them down, and you're neglecting everything else. If you had 9 or 10 buyers that you're working with, all right, and that was one of them and they're dragging their feet, it's not so bad, right? So make sure you find out that commitment level, as we talked about earlier. Find out how serious they are, and that's a good indication. But those are the 2 critical questions that I always ask right off the bat, right? And then from there, you work on setting the appointment. All right, so if everybody has the script books, okay, the Elementals script books, if we turn to page 14, okay, in the book, these are essentially scripts that we have, okay, for, actually on page 13, looks like, for scheduling the appointment, all right, the presentation, and on the next page on 14, getting them to sign the exclusive right to represent buyer, okay? All right. So let's take a look at these here, right here. How many people have actually used these, or how many people have actually read them and basically internalized them at this point? Anyone? Here's the thing, scripts, #1 tool for getting business. #1 tool for getting business. And scripts are going to be the way that you handle objections, you keep the conversation going. If you're talking to somebody, all right, and you don't know your scripts, it's just going to basically be, you know, it's a lost cause. If you know the scripts, you internalize them, you make them your own. You don't have to read them word for word, right? You don't want to go out there and sound like a robot, but you want to make it sound like it's genuine coming from you, right? Read the scripts, take notes. What is it that they're trying to do? What is it they're trying to say? And if I were to say that, how would that sound naturally for me? Anybody have doing any script practicing or role playing, either with an accountability partner or anything that they do in their market center? Anyone? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm actually script practicing with one of the girls that I met in Ignite, and so we met yesterday, and we're gonna schedule again next week, and she's pretty awesome too, so I'm excited.
Good, that's terrific. See, that's excellent, that's good. That's where you're really gonna start to learn and pick up the business. We do it twice a day, every day in our market center at 8:15 and 9:15. And we make sure that you get as many participants as possible, because when you're new and you hear another agent role play and have those conversations and deal with those objections and those questions, right? It gives you confidence, it gives you knowledge. And the more times you hear it, the more you internalize it, and pretty soon you can make it your own. And you'd be surprised too that you'll be at a listing appointment, okay? Or you'll be on a phone with an expired, or maybe you're on the phone with a buyer. They're asking questions, they're throwing out objections, and you're just rattling it off, and then pretty soon you've got either the listing, you've got the appointment, whatever it is, and you don't even remember saying what you said. But it just comes naturally. But scripts, #1 tool that you have for business right there. Okay, you can handle pretty much any conversation, whether it be at a barbecue and you're meeting friends or something like that, or whether you're on the phone and you're talking to a for sale by owner. And they'd be like, why should I use an agent? Well, here, let me tell you. And then boom. They're like, yeah, you know, as a matter of fact, that's good. That's good. We had brand new agents in our office, one of them in particular. She's working with buyers. The buyers wanted to put an offer on it for sale by owner. Okay. She talked to the for sale by owner, trying to get him to list with her, but it was early on, strong market, didn't want to do it. Okay, no problem. However, once the transaction was over, that for sale by owner, he needed to buy a house. So who do you think that he called to help him find a house? Because she was so good in her scripts and talking and handling the process, called her up and said, I need you to help me to find a house. Those things happen, right? So make sure that you read these scripts. Don't necessarily memorize them, but just make them your own. Make them your own, okay? And handle 1 or 2 objections before you learn all of them. Don't sit there and study all 8 when it comes to pricing or the 6 that come with commissions. Just learn 1 or 2. That's all you need. And then build upon it. Start building your mental library of the scripts, because that's going to save you in so many different situations here, all right? So if you take a look at page 13, scheduling the buyer consultation, right? Now, if you read this and you take a look at it, talking about a property, a person wants to see a property. And what they're doing is they're saying like, okay, we see the property. All right, we're going to schedule an appointment. And one of the things that they talk about in here is say, we give you 2 options. Would you go today at 4 o'clock or Saturday at 10 p.m.? Which one would be better for you? Right? Why are they doing that? This ties into what we talked about with the lenders. Why are we doing that? Quiet Friday.
In part, protecting our time.
Well, yeah. Well, number one, we're protecting our time, right? Listen, if I have time blocking and I have a schedule and I've got time for when I do my showings, that's what I'm telling them. Listen, I do showings every afternoon from 3 to 5 or Saturday mornings from 10 to 12. So 4 o'clock this afternoon work for you, or tomorrow at 11 o'clock, right? So that's number one. Number two, if I said, hey, what's good for you? Just let me know. What are they going to say? No, get right to the point, right to the point. Say, which one works for you? This one or this one? What's it going to be? And don't be afraid to sit there and say, oh, well, tomorrow or today at 1 o'clock doesn't work for me because I actually have a meeting. Don't be afraid to say that. Stick to your schedule. Because here's another thing too. If you're working with a buyer and you basically say, yeah, you want to go see the house? And they say, yeah, sure. What's your schedule look like? And you say, I got all the time in the world. I got nothing going on. Whenever you want to see it. You want to go see it now? We'll go see it now. I got nothing going on. What message does that send versus, well, my schedule is pretty booked up today. I do have time at 4 o'clock this afternoon or tomorrow at 10 o'clock. That fits into my schedule. Okay, which one sounds more professional?
And what I do find too is if you do have some flexibility, simply state it that way. I have some flexibility, so that you're still containing your time, but you're letting them know that it's within this period that I have that flexibility.
Right. And here's the thing: if you sacrifice your time, let's say you're doing lead gen, and somebody calls you up and says, "Hey, I want to get together, talk about seeing a house." You drop your lead gen, you go see that, and that appointment doesn't work out. The people just, they aren't ready, or it just doesn't happen. What'd you just do?
You just messed up your schedule.
Yeah, you messed up your schedule, and you took business away from yourself. If you think about it, lead genning is going to give you business. That leads to revenue. If you went to an appointment that just didn't pan out on anything, on any front, okay, now what do? Right? Okay, so everything has its place and everything has its time. So when you set the appointments, make sure that it falls within the window that you do appointments, okay? And give those options to them, all right? And the buyer referral, willing to talk to you, it says right here, okay? Setting a time where they can actually meet you at the office. Meeting at the office is a great thing. Meeting at the office is great because what you can do is if you've got TV or you got the computer up there, right, you're going through the process, as you're talking to them, you can start to show them what's available. You go into your MLS system, or you go into, let's say that you got Command open. You can do your buyer presentation right there. We're going to talk about that in a second. You've got everything right there. All right. You bring your computer along with you to their appointment, right? When you're talking to them. So now they're starting to get excited. They're seeing homes that are out there. You've got a nice clean presentation. You're talking about what the process is going to be like. You're setting your expectations, right? As we talked about, all of that is going to benefit you. And all of that is going to make for a really solid presentation here. Okay. All right. And you've got things in here about exclusivity, closing on the agreement, we'll talk about that. We'll touch base on why it's important to make sure that you explain that, all right? The benefits to pre-approving here, all right? So why should they
Darren?
get, yeah,
Oh, I just wanted to let you know that I downloaded the, in the chat box, the 2 pages that you're talking about,
oh,
in case they didn't have them.
all right, excellent, great, thank you for that, appreciate it, Bonnie, excellent.
Mhm.
So what's the purpose of, if you're meeting with them, okay, talking about getting pre-approved? Let's say they don't have the cash and they need to talk to a lender. Why is it important to talk about pre-approval?
So you're ready to make an offer right there.
Yep, absolutely. That's one thing.
So you,
Yep.
so you know their window to shop.
Yep. Oh, you know their budget, right? If they say like, hey, don't worry about it. Let's go take a look at houses that are 600, 700,000. I'm good for it. And then the pre-approval or pre-qualification comes back and it's like 200, 250 at best, right? That's been a waste of time for you, right? But just explain it. Say, hey, listen, you know, we don't want surprises. Okay. We want to make sure that we understand what your budget is. Okay. Second thing is too, is that we, you know, in this market, we have to be nimble. We have to be able to act quickly here, right? If we go in and we find the home of your dreams and you love it and everything is great, but we don't have that letter, and then you're going to take 3 days to work through it with the lender, and then we come back to it and you find out it's already been under deposit and it was a cash offer and it closed and boom, it's gone. How are you going to feel after that? And did I do my job as your representation, okay, to lay out those expectations correctly? And did I do my job to make sure that you were prepared to place an offer on that house? No. So we want to make sure that if you see the house of your dreams, we can place an offer right then and there. Okay. Now, if somebody doesn't want to go through the process of getting pre-approved and they don't have the cash and they want to go see the house, again, coming back to the fact that, you know, if you're good at something, don't do it for free, right? We are not Uber and Lyft on a voluntary basis. People want to go see the house, but they won't jump through the hoops of getting the pre-approval or pre-qualification. They're already laying it out there that they're not going to follow through on this. And you have to be very careful about that. I've had multiple people that have called me up over the years and said, I want to go see this house. I'm like, okay, are you pre-approved, pre-qualified? No, but I want to go see the house. I'm like, sorry, you know, I can't do it. You know, and then they scream and yell at you and they make up new words to call you names and stuff like that throughout the entire conversation. And you just say like, well, you know, you can't do it. But, you know, one of my old brokers told me, he's like, hey, listen, just tell them that you'll do it on a consultation basis. If they really are desperate to see that house, say, listen, I'll be glad to show you that house and we'll do it on a per hour basis. Okay. My going rate is $200 an hour, minimum 2 hours. You want to go see that house? I'll show you every house that you want to. Okay. Money up front. I'll meet you at the house. We're good to go. How many people do you think are going to do that? Nobody, right? Nobody. But your time is worth money. We just talked about the fact that if you are willing to sacrifice your lead gen time to go show a house or to go to a buyer's appointment and it doesn't lead to anything, if you already know that up front, why are you going to waste your time? Right? Be professional, be responsible, and make sure that you are not giving anything up and you're not going out there just to show people a house because you're desperate for business. That is not what we do, right? Okay. So lay that out in the beginning, and that's critically important. You don't want to go out there and waste your time on anything.
Aaron, I have to say that has, I learned that over time. And now when I take a buyer out, they are all the way to the appraisal part. So the only thing they need is appraisal. They're credit worthy. They have the money. They haven't bought anything like a new car to affect their credit. Yeah. And so that speaks volumes when you put the offer in.
Definitely. Being prepared like that. I mean, it's essentially making sure that, like, listen, if you want to act today on a house that we see right now, we are all set. We got the I's dotted and the T's crossed. Just sign right here. We're ready to go. All right. That's never been more important than in the market that we're in right now. If this were 2 years ago, okay, it's still important, but not as important as it is right now. I mean, houses are coming on the market and going within seconds, right? People are putting in offers without even seeing it. So you have to be out there and you have to be a fiduciary for your clients. Make sure that they're in the best position to act. Okay. Any questions so far? Anything we need to clarify? Wow, we touched on everything so far. This is cool. This is good. All right, good. Excellent. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go into command, and we're actually going to see what the buyer presentation is all about. Okay, go into command. We'll show you what that is, and it's something that you can print out, you can customize, you can show it on the screen, whatever it is that you want to do. So, Nina, did you want to go through the command side of that? Did we lose her?
Sorry, yes.
Oh.
I was getting everything prepared and I lost my screen. But yeah, I can absolutely do that.
Yep, I'll stop sharing my screen here.
All right, so let me get that.
Did I catch you off guard there? I apologize.
Yeah, that's all right. No, it's totally fine. I was getting everything ready, so I was already a few steps ahead, so I'm just trying to go back. So.
Well, in the meantime, while she's preparing that, sure nobody has any questions or anything that we can clarify and anything we've covered up to this point? All right, okay, good. Well, let Nina take it away then.
So I always like starting fresh right there. Here's your home, right? When you log into command, this is where you come at, right? So your buyer's presentation is going to be in designs. So it's the little paintbrush, right? If you like just your symbols, or you can click on this little KW and it'll pop out your menu and then just scroll down to designs. In designs, we have like these 4 selections up on top, but this is going to be a print. We'll click on print, or you could just click this nice little blue Kelly blue button. That's what I like to call it. And click on print and click next. And the buyer's presentation is going to be under buyer, right? So if you haven't played around in command yet or in design, I highly suggest you do. There's so much in here that you can build. I like design, but we're going to click on buyer's presentation. And there's several for you to choose from. So let's pick, I don't know, we'll use this one. Okay, so here it's going to show you on the left-hand side all the different pages. You click this add button, the little plus button. It's going to pull it over, and now you're going to. Oh,
how do I get to that? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to follow you at the same time, but
did I go too fast?
Maybe for me, but maybe everybody else is on the same page.
If I'm going too fast, just tell me to stop, because I like this, so I get really excited and I just click, 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 and I already know where everything's at. So I apologize. I'll go back to the beginning. Huh?
I'm on I clicked the portion of the design.
Okay, so you're in design, click the little blue plus button and click print. And then click on next.
I'm not sure where that little blue plus button is at.
Can you see on my screen?
Yes.
Do you have that little blue plus button in the bottom right?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yep. So click that.
Yep.
Click print.
Okay.
And then click next.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. And then click on buyer presentation, and click the one you like and click on use. And the little plus button on every page is how you're going to add it to your booklet. Okay. It doesn't automatically add them all. So you can add the ones you like, leave out the ones that you don't, and customize them as we go along with pictures, your information, your marketing materials, and everything. So we're just going to click on a couple of the plus and get them added. Sound decisions, your needs come first. And, oh, this is my favorite, your home wish list. Okay, and they have a couple different ones that you can choose from. And now here at the bottom, it's gonna say pages. So I have 6, I've chosen 6 of the pages. You click the page up button, it's gonna give you all the pages. And now you can click on them one by one, so you can customize them to your needs and with your information. So we'll go back to the first page and we can just customize it. So first name, last name, that could be Mr. and Mrs., I don't know, Taylor. I'm just making them. Mr. Safety. Now, if nobody knows about this little typewriter thing, it's a heaven sent. So I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but when you click on all these little things to try to change, you're going to have difficulty clicking in that field and making the change. You use this little typewriter, it brings up that particular block of information. You can delete and change as you need with what you want in there. Click save and then go on. Okay, if you don't know about it now, you do. Changing your logos and doing business ad is as easy as clicking on the logo or whatever it is you like and click add. Sometimes it's replace. It's this little replace logo and that will pop up. This one I don't need. I'm going to delete that. Right. And you just play around with it until it fits what it is that you want it to do. Okay. Does that make sense? Any questions about what I'm doing? Okay. And here is just everything Darren was talking about is now you're just going to get it on the paper. And have something visual for your buyer to look at, because we all have buyers that they're, you know, you can put your buyer in the same disc profile as you would us, right? When we're doing business. So if you have someone who is a C and they love information and they love tangible things. So this may be something that really intrigues that particular buyer. So they like the information and graphs and things like that. So this is where you can impress them and show them that you're catering to their needs. So you'll just go through here, change anything that you think needs to be changed, talk to your coach, talk to your mentor, and maybe you can, you know, narrow this down to something that makes a little bit more sense to you. But my favorite one is the wish list. Because this is in your buyer's consultation is where you're really going to sit down and say, what are your needs, your wants, what's your timeline? Do you have to have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or can it be a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath? Like, what is it that you absolutely need? And what is it that you want to have in your wishes, like your ultimate dream? And this is where you have those conversations, write it down, set the expectations, and get everybody on the same page. And when you're finished with that, you can click done. And it's going to show up right here. And you're able to print this out. You can create a booklet. You can put it on a thumb drive, bring it to Staples if you want to print it up super, super nice and maybe bind it. Anything. My printer here in the office can actually make little booklets. So it looks semi-professional, but not going to, you know, cost me a week's worth of printing out like a book. But that's that in a nutshell. Am I missing anything? Is there anything else you want me to cover, Darren?
No, that's good. I mean, in terms of the technicals of putting it together, it's really very user friendly. It super is. It really, really is. And just play with it and have fun. There's different sites. I'll pop a couple
sites where you can get free images. So like some of these images, like, I don't know, maybe it looks like California, right? And that's not our, like, I'm in Massachusetts, so that's not really a house that I would sell here in Massachusetts. So I'll pop in the chat some of the websites you can go for free pictures that are nice, that may appeal to you more.
How do I save it? So if I want to use it as a, if I want to pull it up again and print it, or if I just want to edit it, how would I save that?
So as soon as you click done, it saves it.
Okay.
And then you come back to the home here for where designs is. And because it's a print thing, it's going to be typically the first thing that the last thing you've saved is the first one there. So the three little buttons would be, you can make a copy of it. So let's say you're still working with the Taylors, but then you get the Smiths. So you can make a copy and then tailor that one for the Smiths. So it would say copy. Oops, I'm sorry. I get clicked. So copy, and then you can click on that one and make the changes for the Smith.
Thank you.
Yeah, the great thing about this is that you do all the work up front in the initial setup of your buyer's guide. And then after that, you just have to customize maybe one or two things for every buyer that you go to meet with. The real heart of it, the meat of it has already been done.
Right.
You put in the pages that you want, and that's your standard buyer presentation. And what you do is maybe change the first page, maybe change one or two pages in there. Other than that, it's very quick and easy.
Yep. And then you can always go in. And so let's say you've done one and you're like, you know what, they're really concerned about the neighborhood. And this one, you didn't happen to have the neighborhood. So you click on the plus to add another page, and let's see the template. Pull up the template and then go, all right, scroll through. And then I think we're in here's the neighborhood. Your preferred neighborhood. I'm going to add that page because the Smiths really care about the neighborhood they're living in. So we want to have that conversation. And you just simply add it, customize it, do whatever you like to it, and click done. And then it's done and you print it. Or you can even download it, email it to them so they have a copy. There's so many ways that you can use the buyer's presentation.
So this selection is all based on the initial phone call conversation that you had with them before you actually decide to design the packet. You already kind of have an idea of what they're looking for. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think you should go in there now, design your packet. Like, how is it that you want to do business? How is it that you are going to explain to each and every buyer every time? There's going to be a ground of where you want to start. So you're going to talk about financing. Are you cash? Do you need a lender? Expectations, your neighborhoods, the places you're going to live, how you're going to show the homes, like things like that. That's your foundation. So that's where you want to really hone in and make that buyer's presentation representative of you. And then for each person, there's those one or two little things, right, that you want to maybe add in or take out because they don't care about. And that's where you go in and customize just that little bit. But the foundation of it all is always going to be the same, because you never want to be so different with every single presentation. This is where Darren talked about scripts and knowing what you want to talk about and being consistent and knowing how you go through that. So it starts making sense for you. And then when you need to be on the fly and make those little adjustments, you can, and already be comfortable with your foundation.
Okay, no, I do get that part. I was just kind of going off the example you gave when you're trying to design a packet for the Smiths and then the other party.
Yeah, because like you want to make it like I put this one was like in the front, I put it for Mr. and Mrs. Taylor. So I'm going to put Mr. and Mrs. Smith on the front cover of it, like this one, right? For the first name, last name is where I was like, all right, this is for the Taylor family. And then I'm going to go in and make a copy of the other one because maybe the Taylor's like, oh, you know what? I lost that. So I want to be able to reprint it. I don't want to remake it and make the changes to something that's already existing. So I'll make my original buyer's presentation and make copies of it for every buyer that I have. And then I'll make tiny adjustments to either change the name or maybe take out a page or add a page, depending on my buyer.
Okay.
That's why I say play with it, read all the pages, go through. There's like what, 5 different buyer's presentations that are in there. So choose the one you like, play with it, combine them all, tear, whatever you want to do. Now's the time to go through it and make it your own.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah, they're different based on style, but the pages internally are exactly the same. So it was more a matter of what catches your eye, really. But, you know, to Nina's point, you know, for us, it's about scripts and making sure that we understand what we're saying. So if we do the same thing over and over, we're gonna get better and better and better at it. If you go in and you completely change it every single time, now you're bouncing around. It's hard for you to concentrate. You don't remember where you left off. Have something that's consistent and that's the same thing. So that way, you know, it just rolls right off your tongue whenever you're having that conversation and people understand, they know, and they appreciate what you're saying to them.
Aside from the logo that we have to have, is there anything else that has to be in the presentation, or as long as like we can just pick from any of that stuff and it doesn't matter which ones?
Yeah. Well, what's important to you? What are you going to highlight? And we'll go through some of the pages that are in here, some of the default pages, but what is it that you want to highlight? You want to highlight the process? Do you want to highlight your value proposition? What is it that's important to you that you want to focus on? Because your presentation is going to be different than Andrew's, which is going to be different than Nina's and Grace's, all that. You know, you make it whatever you want it to be. And what are you going to highlight? You know, just like
And what's comfortable for you, like how you talk and how you represent yourself,
right,
is what you want this to represent too. It's just an extension of you that you're going to leave with your client that also focuses on their needs and how the process is going to work for them. So there's only slight little nuances that you'll change for every buyer. As agents, we're chameleons, right? We're always changing to adapt to how our client is, right? If they're a very high D person, I'm not going to give them booklets of information, right? Because a high D is not going to read that. They're just going to want to know that I have their back. I'm showing them their homes. I'm making sure I have the right people on my team, lenders, home inspectors, lawyers, whatever it is, right? That's what they're expecting. But a high C person is going to want to see that information. So you have to just really understand your buyer. And there's other classes on that, understanding like your buyer and what their needs are to help you be the right real estate agent. I've taken one of those and I highly suggest you do because it opened my eyes to a lot of stuff when I was new in the first couple of years of the business. But that's really all it's about.
Yeah, I will say too, just keep it brief too. You know, you don't want to come in with 40 pages, even if it's a high D or whoever it may be. I mean, if I'm sitting there and expecting a 15-20 minute appointment and you come in with something that looks like an encyclopedia, and for those of you that are old, you know what I'm talking about, but those of you that are young, you have no idea. But it was basically Google in print form, let's put it that way. So you come in with something that's this thick, like, oh, no way am I going through that right now. No way. So
I would think no more than 7 to 10 pages. Like that's enough. And like some of it is like, read this over at your leisure. You know, I just put that in there for you to understand what Keller Mortgage is more about if you're wanting to go down that route. You know, just extra information, show your value.
yeah, and if there's a need, let's say that they're really focused on the process itself. It's like, okay, you know, maybe that's page 5 in your presentation. Then, you know, spend a few extra moments on the process to relieve that anxiety. Or if somebody says, well, what about the pre-approval process? And focus more time on that, you know, but at least you have what's important to you in there, in those 7 to 10 pages. And if there's something that you know that they're focused on, spend a little extra time on that.
Okay, Nina, that goes back to the question I was trying to actually ask earlier, just from what you said. So knowing from the DISC personality thing, that's going to be done on your initial conversation with the person before you actually get to meet them face to face, because you already have your presentation ready at that point. But so when you're trying to put more info for a certain personality, when do I get that info? Like, no, okay, this is the person that needs to be looking at the neighborhoods. So my question was, do you get that from the initial phone conversation before you actually get to meet them? I don't know if you understand.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't know until you meet them. So having your buyer's presentation kind of cover all the personalities, but just like Darren said, if there's someone who needs to know everything, then you show them everything. But if they're only concerned about a particular process or what does a home inspection, like tell me more, like I'm concerned about a home inspection. You know, we're looking at houses that are really old. I'm afraid. Then you focus on that part. So then you just take your buyer's presentation that you have, and as you're having that appointment with your person, you're going through that one particular page and emphasizing more. So the foundation doesn't really change. You're just going in there, changing the names and maybe updating the, like if you put specific neighborhoods where they're looking at, and you're typing that in there. But for the most part, your buyer's presentation stays the same from the 7 to 10 pages. And then, hi, good morning. And then you just concentrate during your appointment. Okay, the process, it's really hard, it's scary. So you just tailor your appointment and use your buyer's presentation guide as your tool to help and keep you on task, on point, and not going all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're on the phone with them too, you know, you're not going to have a 20-minute interview with them. What you're going to do is you're going to ask them the general questions. You're going to set the appointment, and the appointment is going to be where you're going to dive in and get more information from them, and save that for that part right there. You know, the critical thing is just to get the initial information, set the appointment, and be like, okay, great, we'll get more details when we meet, when we get together. And then you have the presentation. If they're really fixated on one portion of it, then spend time on that one.
Okay, gotcha, thanks.
Yeah.
Nina, I have a question for you in the presentation. How do you save it, like as a particular name? How do you name it?
Oh, yep, I'll go back to that for you. You guys, because you're in my way. All right, so in print, I'm gonna move you guys again. All right, so for this one, whenever you're in it, so this was the copy. So I made one for the Taylors, and now this one's going to be for the Smiths. What you want to do is right here where it says copy of untitled design. I'm going to change this. I'm going to highlight it and go. And when I click on done, it's going to save it for me. And when I come back and click on print, it'll say Smith family. Any other questions about customizing the presentation?
I do. When you change the logo, where did you get the other logo from? Do you have to upload it into that component or drag it?
Yep. So if I'm gonna come, we'll go back in because it's already done. So let's say I don't have it saved yet. If I go to images, I can click on add, and either they're on my Facebook or if they're on my computer, you can click on this little drag and drop if you have it saved and it's somewhere, or you could just click on this and browse for it if it's on your computer. So, for instance, like,
Can you save them in there in that section? Like if I decide to use various logos each time, or do I have to upload it each time into each buyer's presentation?
Okay, so this is where it can get sometimes a little persnickety, and I hate to say yes for everything, but 95% of the time, if you've uploaded the image into design, it's going to be saved as one of your assets. Or if you've added it, they'll be in here. I don't know where these pictures came from. I think they're already like in here, but I added these. So if I wanted to use this one, I would just do the plus and it would, right? I could just add that in there if I wanted. Or if I clicked on this, went to image.
The pictures that are in there are the ones that are uploaded by a KW, and they're just templates, and they're good templates because we know they're, what am I trying to say? what's the word I'm looking for? They're okay to use anyway.
There's no copyright.
No copyrights, right?
Yeah. But if it's something that you want to add because it's either a photo that you like, that you've gotten from a source, or they're your particular pictures. Let's say it's a house that you marketed and you were like, this is the best house I've ever listed, so I want to use that as my marketing tools. Thank you, my dear. I love you, Quack. I love the agents in my office. Can I just tell you? We have our ALC meeting at 10 o'clock, so they're coming in right now. But I'll just use what I have. So I can just add that. I could delete this one, right? Delete the one that was there, and then just resize this one to be, if you ever used like Canva or anything like that, it's exactly the same thing. Very user friendly. And don't be afraid to like make a mistake, because see this little button right here? It's an undo button. So you can always go, oh no, I want that back. And then there you go. So nothing's ever wrong in here. Okay.
I'm just impressed with the fact that you worked persnickety into your conversation here.
That is a good word.
That was good. That was good. That's very impressive. So excellent. What's that, 100-word point or whatever on Scrabble or something? I don't know. Something like that. But anyway, all right. So if we don't have any other questions, why don't we take a 5-minute break? Okay, and then everybody can come back and we can work on the next part of it. So I have 10:03. So let's say 10:08. We'll have everybody come back and we'll pick it up from there. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
We good? All right. Cool. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in 5 minutes. All right, we got everybody back. Everybody good? How's everybody doing so far? Good?
Doing good.
All right. Everybody awake? All right. So we are actually going to go through more of the presentation here too. All right. So we're going to follow along in the guides that you have there. And starting on page 6, looks like, okay? We're actually going to talk about some of the parts that were in there. Now, presentation that Nina did, you'll see that there's 5 different pretty much designs that are in there, but the material in each of them is the same. So the style is different, but the material is the same. Now, it may look a little different from what she had on the screen versus what's in here as well too, because you're going to find out that with Command, all right, they make changes and they make updates very regularly. You know, there are times you go into Command and be like, whoa, okay, this is new. I didn't notice this, and I was just in there yesterday, because they're constantly modifying, updating, improving, and changing based on what we are asking them for. So you're going to get new designs, you're going to get new, features, different things like that. So yes, some of this stuff may look slightly different than what you're going to see when you go into designs in Command, but for the most part, the material is close to being the same. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the key pages that are actually in the buyer presentation. All right, take a look at the first one here. Your needs come first. All right, what's important about this page? Why is it something that we'd want to put in here? And what is it really telling us? What are we doing here? Okay, everybody slow down, one at a time, please.
We're stating our value to them.
Yep, okay, that's part of it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that, yeah, you could do that. Yep, absolutely. What else?
I think we're really highlighting that, like, we're working for them. Like, it's not about like our commission. Like, we're looking to find them their home. It's like about them, not necessarily us.
Okay, yeah. Yep, definitely. Sure. Yeah. And always
Like
remember
delving
that
like
too.
the whole like fiduciary duties kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like saying you're representing them, all that kind of deal.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Yep. Definitely. I think all of that is good. All of that is relevant, and you can craft this however you want to when you're on that page. But always remember that we come from contribution. We're not asking for anything. We're not taking anything. We're coming from contribution. And I don't like to use the term salesperson. I don't think we're in the sales business unless you want to say that you're selling yourself, okay, to folks or negotiating your value. We are here as basically real estate consultants, okay? We're problem solvers. You know, somebody wants to buy a house, they don't know how to do it. We understand the process. We know the trials and tribulations. We can help them with that, okay? So come from that aspect of it, where we're coming from contribution. We're here to help them solve their problems. So yeah, all of that is relevant, right? And here's the thing too, all right? We want them to start to really picture in their mind, okay, what it is that they're looking for. Now we're starting to really conceptualize what it is that they're looking for so that we can help to meet that need, okay? Now there's questions on here. It says, why is that important to you? Why is that important to you? They repeat that a couple of different times. I think that's a great question. I would phrase it a little bit differently. I don't like to start questions with why, because it seems a little accusatory. Like, well, why did you do that? And why did you say that? Okay. Basically say, what's important about that? What would that do for you? Okay. Things like that, because now what you're doing is you're starting to dig deeper into it. Somebody says, well, yeah, I just want a small cape on a quiet street. Okay. That tells me nothing. Tell me more about that. What's important about the Cape? What's important about a quiet street? What towns are you looking at? What other features are non-negotiables for you? What are your needs? What are your wants? Now we're really starting to come in to focus with what it is that they're looking for, because that helps them to crystallize what they're looking for. And the funny thing is that you may find that when you're talking to two people who are involved in the purchase, okay, they may think they want the same thing until you start asking questions. And then one says this, the other one says, wait a minute, that's not what I was thinking of. Now you get this out in the open so that you can actually make sure that everybody's on the same page. So that'll come up too, okay? So it's to get the ball rolling, everything that was said is perfect. And that's the thing, those are the things you're gonna highlight here, but it gets the conversation going, right? How about this one right here, the next page? What's this telling us? Why do we want to use this? What's important about this? What did we talk about earlier? The E word.
Expectations.
Expectations, yes, yes. Please, please, please lay out the expectations with your clients, okay? Whether it's a listing client or a buyer client, let them know, okay? Let them know what's going on, your preferences, find out what their preferences are, make sure that everybody's on the same page. It's extremely, extremely important.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you ask like when, and they're like, yeah, we want to close in 30 days. It's like, yeah, you need to have that conversation. Like it's not gonna happen.
Definitely, definitely, you know? How about communication, you know? What's your preferred method of communication? If I call you in the middle of the day and you're at work, are you going to be able to pick up? No, probably not. So how about texting? If I have any updates, I text you. Okay, great. Fine. There's all kinds of different things. The expectations about the market is huge right now. Lay it out to them. Don't assume that they know what's going on. If you ask them, say, hey, have you seen what type of market it is on the news here? Or have you heard about it? Say yes, say no, whatever it is, go through it. Make sure that everybody's on the same page. And you'll see that as you go through the process and you're showing more and more houses, that becomes extremely critical, okay? Make a list of the questions that you want to ask as well. They have questions that are on here, but Nina showed us how we can go in and we can customize it. So beyond what you see here, what are some questions that we'd want to ask that you may not see on here? Can anybody think of anything else that they may want to ask that might be important?
Look at like today's market, kind of have that conversation about like inspections and, how do they feel about waiving inspections if they had to, those kind of deals.
Personally, I would not waive inspections. That is something that I think is very dangerous. In Connecticut, we actually have a waiver form that buyers, if they were looking to waive inspections, there's about 12 different inspections that they can just check off an initial, because yes, it might be a good strategy to win the offer, but if they move into the house and suddenly there's just a big hole in the roof that nobody really noticed earlier, and it's flooding the second floor and then the first floor and then the basement, who do you think they're going to blame?
Yeah. I mean, we definitely preach that same thing too, but I think just letting them know that another buyer may potentially be willing to do that, that's where they may be competing against. So I think just.
Exactly. And me personally, I would have the conversation saying like, look, I'm your fiduciary. I'm here to protect you. However, this is what you want. Okay, that's fine. Just sign here and initial here, all 12 of these boxes, and we're good to go. No problem. But absolutely. Yep. Inspections, talking about that whole situation now. Yep. That's unique to this market. Absolutely. Anything else? What else would we want to lay out in terms of expectations and preferences here? I think what you're going to find that as you get further and further along in this business and you have more and more of these appointments, you're going to start racking up the questions and you're just going to start putting them on this page, or you're going to maybe even have a sheet that you fill out separately. And as you do this, and as you have this meeting with these folks, make sure that you have a notebook and you're taking notes, okay? Even if you're drawing pictures of your dog and your kids on there, at least they see you doing something, like you're taking notes, you're doing something, and they appreciate the fact that you are listening. Listen. Critical component right there. So as they're telling you that like they have a preference for certain towns, certain styles, how many beds, bathrooms, okay? That absolutely. And when you meet with them a week later after they get the pre-approval and pre-qualification letter and you go through, it's like, yeah, I see here that you wanted to be here, and we got this. Has anything changed in that? And they're like, ooh, impressive. That's good, right? Take those notes, okay? So yeah, you're going to start building up the questions, and it's always good to even have that maybe even on a separate sheet if you want it as well too, okay? Here we go. Here's the fun part here. Your home wish list, okay? What's the objective on this one?
So you know which homes to even look at. If they need a 3-bedroom, then you wouldn't look at ones with 2-bedroom.
Right, right. And everybody is going to be different. Every single client that you deal with is going to be unique in their own way. And don't just assume anything. Just go straight off the bat. Say like, okay, what towns do you want to be in? You know, we've got your budget. What towns do you want to be in? How many beds? How many baths? What's important about that? You
I think
know,
a lot of it, you can kind of get down to the motivation a little bit better too when they start describing what they're looking for. You can kind of again just kind of like, why is that important to you, and kind of narrow down
absolutely
what's driving them.
Absolutely. I've had people that, you know, they need houses that are specially equipped for handicap purposes. Okay. I've had people that are environmentalists and they're dead set on being nowhere near a shooting range or anything like that. And pretty much, you know, 100% of my clients don't want to build or don't want to be in a property that has nuclear waste underneath it. So, you know, things like that. Those are things that you want to ask and you want to, you know, clarify with them as well. Okay. So yeah, find out what's their home wish list. And this gets exciting because you can see their eyes light up and they're like, oh, well, we want this and we're looking for that and we're doing this. Now, some of these, you know, they may have way too many choices, but this is where when you start to do the search on your local MLS and you put in all the parameters that they're looking for and they come up with 0 homes available, start to dial back some of these things, but take as much as you can in there and make sure that having that communication, that conversation with them, find out what's important. They may have certain things that, you know, something honestly, it's non-negotiable. We need to have this or we need to have that. And this helps them to really start to hone in on what's important to them. The other thing that's going to happen too is you're going to be working with buyers and their preferences may change. They may think they know what they want. And then you get into the process and you see about 5 or 6 houses and they're like, yeah, you know, I think we need to change this, or I think we need to look here. I think we need to do this. That's fine too. Sometimes that's what it takes. They may think they know what they want and then you get out there and it's not really what they were looking for. Okay. Now, neighborhood insights, okay? A little bit, Nina touched on this a little bit when she was doing the buyer's guide, but in Command, there are actually neighborhood snapshots. So if there's particular areas that they're interested in, you can actually dial in, get stats on that particular neighborhood. You can put 1 or 2 or 3 in there in terms of what it is that they're looking for. So if they're looking for specific areas, you can put that in there as well too. Okay. Here's a really, really, really good one. How buying a home works, okay? The process of buying a home. Honestly, I think that this is the most important part of the entire presentation, right? It's one thing for us to know it, but it's another thing for us to explain it to somebody who is not familiar with it, okay? So make sure that you are familiar with the process of what works in your state, okay, in terms of the home buying process. I mean, everybody is going to ask this. This is one of those things that says like, all right, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? The great thing is in the Keller Williams app, the client app that's there, the one that's branded to you, it's your digital business card, okay, there are guides that are in there. There's a buyer's guide and a seller's guide. So when you go in to Command and you're able to customize your buyer's guide, okay, you can put in the steps that are in there, okay, that's automatically going to feed to the client app, the one that's branded to you. So when your client opens up that app, they click on the buyer's guide and they see the steps there, they can see what the process is, but you need to know that and understand it. So you're also, again, laying out expectations as to how things are going to go and say, hey, listen, you know, like we talked about earlier, the inspections, okay? There could be some issues that come up there, but we'll work through that. The other thing that we might be cautious of is the appraisal. So when the lender is looking for the appraisal and we go through that, we want to make sure that the value that we're paying for this is actually representative of the market. Okay, that's a potential hiccup. So I'm just warning you at least right there. The other cool thing about the guide that's in the client app right there is as each step is completed, you can personally go in and check off each of the steps. They can do it or you can do it. So they can see the process and they don't have to keep asking you what's next, what's next, what's next. All right, so it's a neat little feature that you have there. But this is essential. The process of buying a home, okay? I think it's the most important part of what we have here because unless you're licensed and you're in the business, okay, even if you did it a year or 2 ago, you're not going to remember all of the steps that go in there, okay, especially in this market. Okay. Bonnie, Nina, anything you want to add up to this point at all?
I actually really like this page and I do give that to the buyer and tell them to follow it along and just check them off. Especially when you get to the pre-approval, once they get that finalized, then they know they're going to go find their home. So it just sets them up for that with the expectations. Thanks.
And you can go in and you can change this to and customize it to whatever is unique about your particular market, your state, or whatever it is, or whatever market, state, or whatever you're in at that point. So if there's something here that doesn't apply, then take it out. Okay. They make this universally applicable to pretty much everybody across, the U.S. So if there's something in there that doesn't apply, take it out. If you want to add something, go ahead and do that as well. And like it talks about right here, information cultivates confidence. All right, remember, you are the guide. All right, you're the fiduciary. And if you're talking to them about the process and everything that goes into it, that instills a sense of confidence in them about you and about what they're going to be going through. All right, because everyone hates uncertainty. If you can remove that uncertainty, you're good to go. All right. Now, for those states that actually have Keller Mortgage, I think New York is the only one that doesn't have Keller Mortgage, at least at this point. Okay, there's an affiliated business arrangement disclosure. So if you're directing your clients to Keller Mortgage, okay, and you're talking about it, you want to make sure that they understand that that Keller Mortgage is affiliated with Keller Williams, okay, under the holding company there, just so that they're aware of it. Making sure that we don't get any sort of special benefits or anything from that. But I mean, it's a great service to offer. That's why I offer it in addition to maybe 2 or 3 other lenders, just to make sure that they have choices and make sure that we're not directing them to one lender over another. Okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. How about this page? What do we have here?
It's the page that really sells yourself with what your value is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This
Value
is about
proposition.
you. This has your value proposition. This has what it is. What are your deliverables? What are the things that you're going to bring to this transaction? Right? Think of it this way. If you're in a room with 4 other real estate agents and somebody comes in and says, like, listen, I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds to tell me why I should select you in helping me to buy a home, what are you going to say? I'm a really good agent. Yay. Doesn't do anything, right? So what are you going to put in there to really basically make yourself stand out? Okay. Now, honestly, anywhere from 75 to 80% of the folks that are out there are going to go with the first agent that they see. Okay. It just happens. But it's what happens after the transaction that's going to matter. So if you put your value proposition in here and you live up to that value proposition, okay, expect to get 2 to 3 referrals from that client, assuming that you live up to that value proposition that you put in here. Now, as new agents, you're probably not going to have the numerical data that's in here, okay? But what you can do is you can go into your MLS and you can actually get data on your market center and what they've done, right? You can talk about other things that you bring to the transaction. You see right here that she's got her credentials, okay, underneath her, and they talk about where she went to school, okay, any other things, outside interests that she's involved in, okay, the Springfield Giving Trust, all right, Keys of Caring Springfield, things like that, all of that, things that make you unique, right? Put that in there. It's no problem. But make sure that you show the value that you're going to bring to this transaction and why they should go with you. Is that good? Everybody good with this so far? All right, perfect. Excellent. Okay. So actually going to go in and we're going to do the consultation, buyer presentation. All right. So if we go back into our script books here, okay, we're going to go in and you'll see right here that they talk about on page 14, the exclusivity. All right. Part of what we want to do is we actually want to go in and we want to talk about why the buyer representation is so important. And here's something that everybody should be doing. You should be going in and you should find your buyer representation, your listing representation, and make sure that you read through that and you understand it. Make sure that you're able to sit across from somebody and explain to them every part of that agreement, okay? Because number one, what it does is it gives you knowledge, and the knowledge is going to give you confidence. But number two, it allows them to understand why it's important. It allows them to gain confidence in you and make sure that, they're not being taken for a ride, so to speak. A lot of times people refuse to sign something because they don't understand it. And if you can't explain it to them, then the trust and the confidence and the credibility is shot at that point. So if you can go in and you can explain it, you can break it down to them, then by all means do that. If your broker has a class on basically knowing that, make sure that you take that. Take it a couple of times. Make sure that you fill it out on your own. Ask a family member or a friend, okay, to sit in and explain it to them. The best way to understand something is to teach it to somebody else. And that's a great way to do it. All right. So if we talk about on page 14 right here, when we're closing for the agreement, we're talking about the exclusivity. One of the things that they say here is asking for the business. Don't ever be afraid to ask for the business. A lot of times agents, especially if they're new, will go through the process of doing the presentation, talking about everything they can do for them, and then they just sit there and they expect the other person to say, like, something, that was a fantastic presentation. I don't know why we talk to anybody else. We want to go with you. Everything is great. Let's go. Give me the paperwork. I want to sign right now. It doesn't always work out that way, right? But we want to ask for the business. Okay, we want to go in there. We want to basically, have confidence in ourselves and say, like, listen, I would love to help you in the search for your dream home. Let's say we get the process started now. Okay, ask for the business. Definitely. That's the biggest thing right there. Okay. And make sure that you get them to sign that before you bring them anywhere. Okay. In Connecticut, we cannot show a house unless we have that buyer representation signed. Okay. And there's going to be situations where somebody says, well, my cousin went out to see a house and, she didn't have to sign anything. Or, I have a friend who did this and they said they didn't have to sign anything. Okay, that's fantastic. That realtor is willing to put their license on the line and risk that. Okay, do you really want to be working with them? No, we're professionals. You talk to lawyers, you talk to accountants, they have you sign a contract, a commitment, whatever it is that you want to call it, to work with them. Why shouldn't we have the same thing? Okay, it protects you. It also protects them. And that's one of the things that we want to say. It's like, look, this is a fiduciary arrangement. I'm here to look out for you. I'm here to represent you. I'm here to give you all of the information for this transaction. I'm here to look out for your interests. Okay, this represents a commitment on both our part. I'm here to help you. As long as you give me all the information that we need, everything is great. If somebody doesn't want to sign it, you have to think in the back of your mind, is that somebody that you really want to work with? Okay. And here's the thing too, is that you're going to actually sit there and have this conversation with them. And if they don't want to sign it, okay, but yet you've got 3 or 4 other people who have signed that, okay? If you're sitting there and somebody says, I want to go see a house, 2 people call you up. One of them is somebody that has signed an agreement with you, and the other one is somebody who hasn't. And they both want to see the same house. Who are you going to dedicate your time to, and who are you going to show that house to? Person who has a signed agreement.
Yeah.
They're willing to commit to you, then you commit to them. And I've phrased that. I've told plenty of people that. It's like, fine, if you don't want to sign it, that's great. Unfortunately, I can't help you. I do have people who are, committed to working with me. And one of the lines I like to use is say, hey, 100% of the buyers that I've worked with and continue to work with have signed the agreement, which is true, right? If they don't want to sign it, I'm not working with them. So 100% of the people that I work with have signed that agreement, that commitment. Bonnie, how about you? Anything that you want to add from your experience?
The buyer representation agreement is the most important tool because that's how you get paid. So let's face it, we're in the business to what? To earn money. And by not having a buyer representation signed, what are you going to earn? So just keep in perspective that it's all about the buyer and what they really want, but it's also how you earn your living. So keep that in mind.
Now, here's the thing too, is that if you have the buyer's agreement, make sure that you fill it out correctly too. Okay. I had an agent in my office who didn't ask me for help, but asked another agent to help her fill out the buyer's agreement. When she filled it out, okay, she had her client sign it. She's great. She actually took this client in her car to a lender, got him pre-approved, went out, saw a bunch of houses. And then after about 2-3 weeks of doing this, the client went to an open house and put an offer in on a house with a listing agent. So of course, this agent comes back to me and says, hey, she owes me money because I have an agreement signed with her and I did all this stuff for her. I did all this work. Okay, great. Let me see the agreement. Well, when it came to the part about her getting paid and doing things, she put zeros and NA in there. So she had no leg to stand on. And she lost out. Spent all that time and lost out on getting paid. So to Monty's point, make sure that you fill that out and fill it out correctly because we want to get paid, right? We are professionals and we're providing a service. Plain and simple here, okay? Has anybody gone on or worked with any buyers? Anybody run into any sort of objections from that?
The tough thing with buyers is they're so excited about seeing this property. Usually that's when you get the call, at least when I've been doing it. They see something, they call me, Mike, I want to go look at this property. And then I direct them into the presentation and getting them just to sit down and listen to you is the most hard part. Once you've done it, you're about maybe 5 minutes into it when you see the light bulb starting to go off and they start to understand why it's important for them to do it.
Right. And that's good. And always remember, you're the adult in the room. Okay. They're going to get emotionally volatile, up one side and down the other. And it's up to you to remain calm, maintain your composure, and just be the professional and say, hey, listen, this is what we need to do. If we want to go see the properties and we want to essentially get in there and start the process, this is what we need to do. So explain it to them and go through it. Make sure that they understand it. So to Mike's point, if you go through there and you explain everything to them, then the light bulbs go off and they understand why that needs to be done, right? They could be a bull in a china shop being like, I want to go here. So, oh, okay, slow down. Start from the beginning, right? Okay, properly handle it. So let's take a look at page 17. All right, we got some objections to exclusivity. All right. So let's take a few minutes, take 5 minutes. Let's read through these and see if there's anybody that wants to take the first objection, the second objection, or the third objection. And I'll actually role play that with you. All right. And here's what I suggest is read it, understand it, internalize it, and make it your own. Because you're not going to have the script when you're sitting there talking to them across the table. All right. So if there are volunteers who want to handle the first objection, the second one, or the third one, we'll do that. We'll give ourselves, let's say here, 10:37. Let's give ourselves till about 10:40. Okay. We'll give 3 minutes. Just read it, internalize it, make it your own, and then we'll role play that. Okay. All right, so what do we have here for the first objection, right? Who wants to role play the first objection? Anyone? The first time that you do this, most difficult thing in the world, but it gets easier every single time after that. So once you break the ice, start with that first role play, practicing that first objection, it's only going to get easier from here.
I'll do it.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Amy. So here you go. We're sitting across and I'm looking at it and I said, you know, Amy, I'm not really sure I want to sign anything. I'm probably thinking that I may want to work with other agents.
I get that. Wait, you want to work with another agent, you said?
Yeah, I may want to work with other agents. So I really don't want to commit to one person right now.
Oh, okay. The thing is that you could do that, but working with me, then you have my full commitment and I would be able to give you information like if there was a divorce and they were trying to sell quickly, that's kind of information that I would have that I'd be able to give you. Without a signed contract, I wouldn't really be able to give you that kind of information. I'd be like a sub agent to the seller. So you wouldn't have information that would help us move forward and have a better agreement.
Okay, good. No, it's good. That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, I'm going to be able to provide service to you with a signed agreement. You know, if we don't have that, then I'm limited in what services I can offer you. Okay. I know in the state of Connecticut, we do need that in order to show properties. You know, one of the things that we have on the contract too is we can actually basically limit that contract to being just a one-day contract. We can limit it to being just one single property, not a bunch of properties. Okay. So there's ways around that flexibility in that regard. But for the most part, like I would say that, hey, listen, this represents a professional commitment on both of our parts. Okay, I'm going to dedicate my time to you as your fiduciary, you know, as long as we are committed to this. And I would even throw in the situation I talked about earlier, where, listen, you know, if it came down to you were looking to see a property and I had somebody who had a signed commitment with me and they wanted to see the same property, who do you think that I'm going to give my time to, right? You know, I want to be committed to you, but I'd also appreciate it if you were committed to me. So, good.
Could you say something like most agents won't show you houses and stuff without a contract, or is that something you really shouldn't say because you don't know what other agents?
You know, there are agents that are going to do that. They're going to bypass the system, you know, and if they do that, they bring up an example that say like, okay, listen, they're putting their license in jeopardy. What do you think they're going to do with the largest asset purchase of your life at this point? If they're cutting corners and they're willing to risk their own, basically, career in their own business, do you want them representing you? You know, just something to think about. I would also say too that, like, you know, in this state, you know, the listing agents want us to actually have an agreement with buyers because it represents a commitment, but it also shows that the buyers are serious as well. So as a listing agent, they are requiring us to make sure that we are, you know, in a personal relationship or personal commitment with buyers so that they know they're serious. Because number one, too, we're also asking people to leave their houses so that we can go in and we can see it. And if this is just like, well, you know, I just wanted to go see it, just, you know, I had nothing else going on today. Hey, neither do I. So yeah, let's go see the house. You know, you're asking people to get out of their house. And that's a little, you know, that's a little difficult if you're not serious about it. Good. All right, excellent. What about the second one? Who wants to handle the second one? I got everything right in front of you right there. 3 or 4 sentences right there. It's going to give you practice for when the when reality sets in. When you're talking to buyers here. Who wants to handle the second one?
I wasn't looking at that one, Darren, but I'll do it. I feel comfortable with that one.
Perfect. All right, great.
All right, Darren, so you ready to sign some paperwork?
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I gotta be honest with you, I'm not really too comfortable with it. And it seems like an awful long time, 30 days here. But what happens if I change my mind?
You know what? That does happen from time to time, but what I'm comfortable in is my abilities to represent you and my knowledge of the market. So, after 30 days, if you're not happy with the service that I'm providing to you, there is that option to part ways. I'm confident in my abilities and, to represent you and get you, do what I need to do to get the deal done. But if you aren't happy with my services, we could terminate the contract. That is an option for you. But I'm pretty confident that it won't get to that.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. All right. Yeah, let's move forward then. That's fine. That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Look, hey, listen, this isn't binding. It isn't anything where like, oh my God, I'm going to hold you to it, and then you owe me $10,000 if you cancel this in 15 days. No, there's none of that. Look, if you're not happy, then there's really no reason for us to work together. Because if you're not happy, I'm not going to be happy, and it is what it is. But yeah, just phrase it that way. Like, very good. Good. Excellent. How about the third one? What do we got?
I'll do the third one.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Mike. So, really, Mike, I'd love to use you, but hey, with technology nowadays, I can go out there and I can find a home on my own through the internet. So I really don't need the services of an agent.
I think I'm looking at a different one than you are.
Page 17.
Pardon?
Page 17 in the script book. Are you there?
Okay. Let me see here. Right. Okay. All right. I know where we're at. Okay. So yeah, searching for the home is the fun part. I mean, I could do that all day long, and of course, we'll certainly use the internet to find your home. Finding your home is, not why you hire the agent. You hire the agent because what you do when you find the home. You want to get into the house that you find. You want to do it at with all the advantages of that an agent provides. So I'm going to help you negotiate, get the best price. I'm going to help set you up for success by making sure you're pre-qualified before you even get there, and take care of all the other little things that maybe the seller is looking for that anybody else going to show the property isn't going to maybe have that foresight to be able to do. So it's not just about finding the home. I want to protect your interests throughout the process, negotiate on your behalf, and get you the best price and terms.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it makes sense. All right. Sure. Let's move forward then. Good.
Right.
That was good. Good. Okay. And here's the thing too, is like, hey, yeah, you can find the house on the internet. You can find a lot of things on the internet. Okay. But what happens after that? That's step one. And how do you know you're getting the most up-to-date information? Right. What you're going to find, and some of you may have already experienced this, is that, you get interested buyers and they send you a house that's on Zillow or Redfin or Craigslist or something like that. And then you look it up on your local MLS and it's been under deposit for 3 months, right? It's not the most up-to-date information. So listen, you're going right to the source, right? We provide you with everything that we have. We can set you up on automated alerts and MLS, okay? Not only that, but finding the house, yeah, that's the first step. But what about the negotiations and the price? What about doing the paperwork? What about putting the contract together? What about the negotiations? What about the inspection? Okay, what if there's an issue with the appraisal? Right, all of that. Okay, there's a lot more that goes into it, right? A lot more that goes into it. What about, hey, actually geographic farming? What happens if they like a neighborhood and there's no houses that they can find on the internet? If we're going up, we're door knocking and we're talking to people and we're reaching out to them saying like, hey, I've got an interested buyer in your neighborhood, right? Does the internet do that for you too? Nope, not at all. Not at all. That's why we're essential to the transaction. Bonnie, anything you want to add in any of those in your experience?
I always like to say real estate is local. And so who knows better the real estate market? The local agent. And that's what I am. And yes, we do use the internet, but the internet is not always updated properly. So real estate's local, let's get out there and find the home.
You got it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, it's great, but it's not the only tool, it's not the only step in the process here too. Okay. All right, good. So we talked a little bit about the KW app. All right. And this is essential in terms of you making that connection with your clients, having that personal connection with your clients. So if you haven't already, download the app and then log in as a client. Okay. It asks you to do that so you can see what your clients are going to go through. When you go in there, make sure you select yourself as the agent of choice on there. That way that app is going to be branded to you. Okay. And every time you share that, you're going to basically have an app that has your information on there. All right. And if that person shares it, they're going to have your information. So it basically gets the word out. And you'll see in here on this middle screen that has the search button where it says share the KW app, has a feed. And then in the middle is the guide. And that is essentially where the guide is that you can walk them through the buying and the selling process, depending on which side of the transaction that you're on. Okay. All right. Now, as your clients are going through and they are looking at homes and the search capability and they're saving them, that's feeding right into Command. If you don't have them in there as a contact already, the minute that they log in, all that information goes into Command, and now you got yourself a brand new contact. Makes it very easy for you. You don't even have to put their information in there. And then as they're looking for homes and they're saving it, okay, all that information is getting fed into their contact card in Command. So when they call you up and they say, hey, Grace, we're looking at some houses that were there and we saved a few of them. And you're like, yeah, I see them right here. It's 1300 Deer Grove Drive, 8829 Cattle Barren Path, and all that. Yeah, sure. When would you like to go see them? I have time tomorrow at 10 or Monday at 4, or whatever it ends up being, right? Okay. And here's the guide that we talked about. The guide is in there. You can customize it in Command. Okay, and that's going to feed back to all of your apps when your apps are out there. Okay, and it's going to allow you to basically put in the process, adjust the process, customize it, make it yours. So whatever works and whichever part of your process, keep it in there. Whatever doesn't, make sure you take it out. Okay, all right. Any questions on that? Is there anybody who has done this already and has actually taken a look at it? No? Okay. That would be homework then this weekend. Make sure that you download the app. The app is basically, it's a white app with the red KW letters that are in there. Okay. It's not the Kelly app. It's the KW client app. And then go in, log in, and just start, messing around with it. Get comfortable with it. And then share it with as many people as you know. Okay. If you want to share it with family members, that's great. Say, hey, can you mind just test driving this app and just let me know what you think? Perfect, right? Share it with as many people as you know. It becomes your digital business card, so it's perfect. So what have we learned up to this point? What do we have?
I have to ask you a question too about the Kelly app. What does that's an internal one, but what does that really do?
Well, right now, it gives you notifications from Command, but it's basically a convoluted version of Command. They're going to be changing that to Command Mobile eventually in a little while. So I would say for right now, it's good for the notifications from Command, but I would wait until that converts to Command Mobile. Nina, unless you know something different, unless there's something else that you want to add to that.
Yep, Darren's completely right. Kelly is like our AI. So she's running the background for everything. And for right now, she is kind of on the back burner. We have a love-hate relationship with her right now, but it's going to function just like Darren said. It's going to eventually be an agent version of Command in a mobile app. Keep it because like you said, you got notifications, you can check certain things through it. Insight still works. So there's some good little tools in there that are convenient for you. But don't rely on her. And know that if you're downloading the consumer app, that's the key there. It's the consumer's app. So you have to look at it with the eyes of the consumer. What they're doing, it's going to show you what's going on for open houses. Like, I don't know if you can see on here that little green calendar, that means that that place and that particular area, that house is having an open house. So play with it, get to know it, so you can direct your clients on how to use it. And it's a killer tool, guys. And I know like months ago, everyone was like, oh, it's poop, it doesn't work, it's not working, it's glitchy. It's working. Just use it. And if it starts being glitchy, contact your MCTTs, talk to your team leaders. You know, if you know Brooke, and call her, let us know, because the more we raise our hand saying this isn't working, or why does it work this way, the more we can make it better and better and better every day, because they're always trying to make it stable and trying to make it better.
Nina, I wanted to say too, I just want to make sure they know it's the white with the red KW letters. That's the one, and when you go to download it, it looks just like, there you go. So
That's
make
the
sure
one.
that's the one that you download.
And that little blue one, that's Kelly. Kelly, we love her, but she's just
funky.
We're taking a break right now. Taking a break. But it's really easy to set up. I'm trying to find right now something that I can put up. So you have to sign up. So Michael, when you log in, so honestly, it'll take a minute, right? Let's go and do this. When you download the app to your phone, it's going to say sign in or sign up, or log in and sign up. Do sign up. Use an email address that you don't care about, not your business one, just something else that you're okay with getting some sort of updates with. Because I know we all have 3 and 4 different types of emails. So use that email. Pretend you are a consumer, and this is how you're going to use the app. And when you do that, it just asks you for your email address, a password, and then sign up. And then bam, it looks like you'll get this. Go away. It'll open up and it'll look like that. You'll get like a map. Okay. Then at the bottom of your screen, you see the little person. There's like a little person down there at the corner. Click on that little person. Okay. And right now it's not going to be branded to you. Right now mine is, right? Because I'm a real estate agent. But what you're going to do is you're going to do find an agent. And when you click find an agent, you start typing in your name. So Darren would be Darren. And then you're going to click on it and it's going to say, connect me with this agent or something of that nature. You click that. And then what it's going to do is once you say yes to everything there, it's going to say, bam, look, that's my agent. So now anytime that that person likes a house, likes something, and you're going to get a notification through Kelly. Here's where Kelly's helpful. Through Kelly and in command. Okay. You're also going to see on your homepage that this is where this, okay, I'm going to share my screen again. If that's okay. Are you okay, Darren, if I do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You want me to stop sharing?
Oh, yes, please. If you're okay.
Yep.
And then. All right. So if you've customized your homepage, right? Here I have where it says recent leads. These are the people that have downloaded my app. Now, I'm a bad real estate agent because as you see, 333 days, that was the last time, and I haven't talked to them since. But this is what you're going to see when they download your app. Okay. So for instance, like Samantha Cruz, I click on her. So I've marked her as a lead. Here it says lead. And then what it does is it automatically puts her name and email address into command for me. How cool is that? So the more you share it, the more your friends share it with their friends, and it's already branded to you, you're going to start seeing people pop in on that little page on your home screen showing you this information. So this is going to give you the opportunity to say, send out an email. Samantha, thank you so much for downloading my app. and just making a short little connection. If they start liking houses, right here under the timeline, you're gonna see, I'm gonna click on me, because I'll show you what it does. Because I liked houses. And viewed listings. So, oh, what listing did she view? You can click on this and it'll show you which one I liked. My computer will do it.
What if you already have a person in command that you would put in as a contact and then they look, will it connect it to the same one, like the same person, or will it make a new?
It'll make a new one because, again, I know this saying is not very nice, but buyers are liars. And sometimes they have that extra email address, just like we all do, and then they signed up with another one. So now you have a second contact email, and maybe that's their real one and they want to get stuff to. And I found that out with a couple of people through the years. So it was just another opportunity for me to gain more information about them. And now I'm starting to see what they like. Hey, I see you logged into my app under this email address. That's fantastic. And you're liking some houses. How can I help? What do you like about that house? What interests you? Is that the neighborhood? Well, that's not the town that you originally said. Why are you choosing, Douglas now? Like, why are you intrigued with Douglas? So it gives you those opportunities to start having more conversation.
Can this be shared on social media?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
So I just copy the link or something?
Yep, but even better, InDesign, whereas, again, so if we click back in here, we'll do a new social post. And there is actually a share my app.
Oh, cool.
Social post that you can do. And if you've set up your marketing profile already, some of this information will already like pre-populate. So here's several different ones that you can use to make one for your post. And as soon as you customize this, make it your own, you can pop it in and download it. So here it'll automatically, like, because I've already branded my marketing profile, when you put this in there, it'll automatically have it when it goes to the social media.
Nice.
Quick question. If you post that on social media and other people that you didn't, have their contact information, download the app, are you able to get their contact information when they sign in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just right here, it'll say recent leads. And now I reorganized my homepage to have my leads up at the top because I want to see that every time. I want to see my tasks and who's downloaded my app. Like, that's important to me. So I customized my homepage to do that. So they'll pop up right here. And when they do, you just simply click on their name. This is my daughter. Oh, so here you go. So this is the stuff that she looked at, for instance, right? I had her just click on a whole bunch of houses. So when she did, these are the houses she clicked on. So now I'm able to see, oh, now I know what she's interested in. I'll go back, I'll look at them, do a little bit of quick homework, quick 5 minutes to see if they're still available. I'm gonna call her up. Brianna, I saw that you're looking at some houses. They're great. A couple of them have open houses this weekend. Others are just by private showing. I'm available, afternoon on Saturday and all day on Sunday. What's your availability like? And then we're going to go see houses.
Nina, does the app automatically get updated once we've downloaded it?
You have to, that's a great question, Bonnie. Thank you very much. If you have set all of your apps to automatic update, then that's probably the best way for the KW app to function, to have it set up on automatic update. Because we never know when they're going to push out an update for anything. And sometimes they worked on a little bug that's not really important to tell us, and they've just done it, and it just works now so much better. So on your phones, if you have it set up for auto update, it's the best thing. If not, you kind of want to frequently check. to make sure that you have the newest version through your, if you have an Android, the Google Play Store or app and on the App Store. So just check in on it. Make sense?
How do you update it on your phone? I already have it on my phone, but
Sure.
how
So if you go to your App Store, do you have an Android or?
it's an iPhone.
Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to stop sharing my screen so he can have it back. So on your iPhone, if you go to your App Store and then find the app on the App Store, it'll tell you whether or not, if you need to download, it'll say like a new version or something needs to be updated. If not, if you don't have anything that says update, then you have the newest version.
Okay.
And Nina, when I go into my app store, what is the name of the actual app? How does it show up?
Sure. Williams Realty. So right there. That's what it looks like. So I just typed in Keller Williams Realty. The first one that pops up is that one, and mine says open. So I have the latest version. If it needed updating, it'd say update instead of open. And there it is.
Yeah, mine says open too. And so it's got a version history that says 1 week ago.
Good. So you have the most late. If it needed updating, it would say update.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Sound good? Great questions, guys.
Well, do you have any other questions about anything like the app or anything else?
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Pam.
If it's ours says to update though, what did it do to everybody that already had theirs? I mean, it was not going to update everybody else that already had it before, just update with the newest going forward, correct?
What do you mean before?
I'm just saying if I had shared it with 24 people last week, but now it says it needs an update, it's just going to be updating mine though. So when I shared it in the future, it would update, but the other people, would I have to
Right.
have?
So hopefully they have that same thing going on with their phone. So I would say, because when you're downloading, it says it asks you certain things, certain permissions. So I would just tell them, make sure you keep the most updated version you can. Just like any of our apps, any of them, we want to do that, right? Because it's your tool. It's your tool to, whether you're gaming on it or if you're using some health app, like you're always wanting to make sure that they're updated. And this is one of those that they probably want to send to an auto update. If it's, I don't know, one of the little silly games to waste time, Candyland or something. Yeah, maybe you don't care about having that update, but it's an important one. So send it to
And there is a question, is there a QR code we can pull from this? And that will send someone to us on this app.
So is this just for sharing, Mike? Because in the app, there's the ability to just share. So if you, again, when you're in the app, click on the little person and it says, share the KW app. And when you click on it, it gives you the ability to share it on different formats. So you can text it to a person, email it to a person, share it to Facebook straight from there if you want. If you want to make a QR code, there are websites that you can do that with. But really, it's so easy to share it straight from your phone. There's no need to do a QR code. Now you can set one up, and let's say you have an open house. So I can go on for days, guys. I am like a command nerd, right? I love this stuff. I've been doing it since our market center, as soon as we pulled the Band-Aid off, they would say, do it, we did it. So there's so many ways that you can do this, like a QR code in an open house, scan this for the latest updates, use my app to find houses, stuff like that. So that's possible, but you'd have to go through another website to do that. not automatically made. Did that answer your question?
I just had a question. You might have shared this already and I missed it. So if you're trying to do a group share for the app, like within Command, is there any way you can select what the recipients from your database and say, okay, I'm going to send it to 10 people?
Yeah, so let's say you did a smart plan. You can
Right.
create a smart plan and do a
Yeah.
share my app smart plan with people in your database.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, good. Play with it. It's a lot of fun. And when you start going down this little thing of, it's just another tool to kind of help you keep connected. And nobody in the industry has this. They can pretend all they want that they're going to have this, but they don't have it now. And they don't have it where it's working. We do. And so we're spearheading the technology in our industry as real estate agents. It's so cool. I'm a dork though. Sorry, Darren.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Good questions. This is good. What else? Do we have any other questions more about the app or anything about what we've talked to up to this point at all?
I just want to make sure, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but when you do share the app with somebody, if you're like logged in under your name, it'll like share it and have them like sync to your profile, right? Or do you have to like tell them to like search for you?
Here you go, buddy. Here's my phone number. Text me your app.
All right.
I'm going to show you in real time. I do this
All
when
right.
I onboard people, because I'm the ASC for my office, and I do it so I can show them in real time, like how it works. It's like so cool.
Yeah.
The only difference is that in this situation, it's going to ask me to switch to an agent because I already have the app downloaded. So that's going to be the only variation, just to show you.
All right. Should have just sent it to you.
Perfect. All right, so it comes with me. There's your text message.
Yeah.
Right. When I open it up, do you have your I use the KWS.
Did you select yourself as the agent on the app?
Yeah.
I don't know. I am. Maybe I didn't do it correctly. It says my name on there, but maybe I signed in. Maybe I didn't do it correctly.
If you
Because this is how I got it. And normally what it would say is, I'm using this app, Darren, was it Adrian? Adrian is my real estate agent. Download the app, and it's usually clickable. And here it's not clickable.
Another way that you can do it is if you go into more and you click on your view my profile at the very top, under there, there's another way to send it where it says refer this agent. And you click on that, it's more of a personalized text that says, hey, this is the agent I was telling you about. So that if there are family members or friends who want to share your app with other people, that's another way to do it as well.
Try it that way.
Yeah, it like doesn't really look like I'm like signed in as an agent.
Okay, so perfect. So what you would do is on there, it should say something about find an agent.
Yeah.
Click that, type your name.
Okay.
Select yourself. And then it's going to ask you, do you want to contact this agent or something of that nature?
Yeah. It says
And then
connect
say
with
yes.
Adrian. Yeah.
Yep. All right, now do it again. And it should work.
Nina, is it supposed to say I use the KW app to search for homes with my agent?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And then it should have the agent's name.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Did you say you did want me to resend it to you this way now?
Yes,
or-
please.
Okay.
Yep. I'll show you what it looks like in real time.
Okay.
Hi, dear. Good having you. Happy Friday. Aha.
I feel like it's kind of strange wording in that text though. It says, I
Yeah.
use the app to search homes with like my agent, Adrian Randall. It doesn't seem like it's like coming from you.
Right.
Because it's a consumer app. So that's where you have to change your mindset.
Yeah.
Because so when you're sharing it with people, say, I'm sharing my consumer app with you.
Okay.
It's because it's not for the agent, it's for the consumer. So if you want, you can change that.
You can, yeah, you can edit.
But-
the word. Yeah.
So for me, what it's going to do is see, it says it wants me to choose. So now in real time, I'm going to choose you. If you log into Command and see your recent leads, my name is going to be on your Command now. You're going to have my email address.
Gotcha.
And that's how quickly it works.
Yeah. I got like a notification on the Kelly app.
Hallelujah.
There you go. Simple as that.
Simple as that. And that's how quickly it works. So for everyone that may have had, or if you're hearing in your market center where, it doesn't work, it works. We just did it in real time.
Yeah. You get a notification. I got an email. I got all that.
There you go. So use it.
Ina, it gives them instructions too, like how to use it and how to search. Is there a?
There is like a little tutorial in the beginning that they can scan through. But it's very, very user friendly. So they just have to sign up for it. They don't log in because they don't have a login. So they sign up, and when they sign up, it says, is Adrian going to be your real estate? Yes, he's my real estate agent. And then you just continue on, and then they use it just like any other search app.
The nice thing about this app is that, let's say you have someone that wants to buy in Florida, and they travel to Florida and they find a house, and they send you a note and say, I just found a house in Florida I might want to see or buy. Then you can refer them out to an agent, which is amazing.
Yep.
That's how good it works.
It's anywhere in the country, in the world, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, they can see, because this is fed by the MLS, wherever they are in the country, in the world. It's fed by their system. It's so cool.
Bonnie, can you refer within the app, or do you have to do that out of the app?
You refer within Kelly. I mean, you can go into Kelly and refer, and you can find agents in that area very easily.
Okay.
There's a referral basic link in Command as well. There's the actual menu item in Command for referrals, and it gives you the map, and you can drill in on that. You can search according to production and things like that.
Yeah, I knew about the one in Command. I was just trying to see if you could do it within the app, within the Kelly app, though.
Not that one, but just like Bonnie said, in Kelly.
Okay, thanks.
Like I said, she works on those little bits. Not everything we wanted her to do yet, but. Oh, that was fun. I like hands-on like that.
Can I ask you a little quick question about the referral part too? When I went in the other day, one of the agents online said, okay, well, refer me, pick me as a referral and then we'll be connected. But like, I didn't find myself in there. Will I not find myself in there because I'm new?
No, you should be able to find yourself in there without a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're having problems with that, check with your MCTT to make sure that everything is set up correctly. It just might be a little click of a certain button that maybe you can't find yourself.
Okay, we don't have one right now, so that's where I'm.
Oh, okay. So Pam, there's my number. Give me a call later and I'll walk you through it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Anything? Oh, any buyer consultation, anything like that?
I have a questions.
Okay.
I missed some in front of the explain and how to use this app. I never use this once. Sorry about that. I missed some front area.
For what and how to like get it and download it and that sort of stuff?
You told me, and we have to share some app with the customers, and then
Yeah, so the KW. So what I'll do is I'll search for like how to download it and stuff and put it in the chat. How's that?
I see.
Okay, I'll do that.
Plus, this is also recorded too, and it's going to be on the Facebook page. So
Yes.
you go back and refer to this and rewatch it again as well too, to walk you through the steps. And for everybody too, if you're still not sure or you want a refresher, absolutely go back and rewatch that. So, certainly.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, now comes the fun part. This is where we actually are going to start to utilize our skills. So at this point, we want to go and we want to start talking to people, having real estate conversations. We want to start doing our lead gen, right? We don't want to neglect that because obviously if we don't do that, just like I said, right out in the calendar, 60, 90 days from now, no business, right? We've got to get things going. So this is the part where we actually start reaching out to the folks that we know, start having these real estate conversations, right? We have the script books, we have Spark, we have Elementals, we have things that are in there. So depending on who we're talking to and where they are in the process, we want to get this going, right? And this is essential. This is one of the 5 key activities, okay, that successful agents do day in and day out to grow their business. And for us, we're starting the business, right? So what we want to do is we want to take basically now until noon and start reaching out and talking to people. Now we got 27 people that are still on this call. All right. You can either choose to do this or you can choose not to do this. But you can also choose to be in real estate or you can choose to do something else as well. And if you want to be in real estate, then this is something that you need to do day in and day out. Okay. And it's completely up to you. Completely up to you. But what we want to do is we want to spend the next, let's say 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes reaching out, talking to our sphere, having those conversations. And then what we'll do is we'll reconvene just before noon and we'll see if anybody had any luck in getting an appointment, because obviously that's our main goal, or if they ran into any complications or had any objections that came in. Okay. All right. Any questions on that? Everybody good? Okay. So I'll tell you what, we will just put ourselves on mute to reach out to the folks that we know. And then just before noon, we'll reconvene again and we'll see where everybody's at. Okay.
What if you don't know anybody who's like looking to buy at all? Like you don't know anybody who's in the market to buy or sell. I mean, I can call and just like spread the word that I'm in real estate and that kind of stuff, but
yeah, are you 100% sure that nobody is looking for real estate? So everybody that you know right now, they're 100% sure that nobody is involved in real estate whatsoever.
I mean, everybody that I've been able to contact so far anyway. I mean, like I said, I can reach out to more people but
yeah, no, absolutely. Just have conversations.
I think one of sorry about that. I think one of the sessions showed you how to go all the way down to the bottom of your contacts to see how many contacts are in your phone. Start calling them.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, there's basically 6 ways to talk to people directly, right? There's calling, there's texting, there's email. You can do handwritten notes, old school mail, right? There's also face-to-face, and the last one is social media. So 6 different ways to do that. So because of that, all right, we have multiple ways of reaching out and just chatting with them, touching base with folks, right? If we reach out to them once and then we wait 3 months, what's going to happen in the meantime? Are they going to remember that we're still in real estate? No, we got to have constant interaction, and that comes through prospecting and then marketing along with that. Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Everybody good? Okay, cool. Thanks. So let's take ourselves back off mute around noon and we'll go from there.
Oh, Nina, I do have one more question for you. You still there, Nina? So I have a buyer that I'm working with right now. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I have a buyer that I'm working with now that I just have set up on like an MLS search, but I did kind of want to try out this app with him.
Yeah.
If I already have him like as like in my contacts on command, will it like sync that, or will it put in like a new contact if he downloads the app?
If he uses the same email address that you already have, it should not make a new contact.
Okay.
If he uses a different one, then it will.
Okay.
And then what you would have to do is copy that new email address, delete that one, and add that email address to the current contact you already have for him. So you'll have those two different communications.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Make sense?
Yes.
So what I just did in there, so the tech-enabled agent, that one with KW Connect is going to show you like all the different things to choose from. But then you have to set up, if you haven't done that yet, set up your app. And then through answers.kw.com, you'll also be able to go even deeper and further, like how we just did.
Okay.
Also.
Thank you.
Hey, Darren, if it's okay with you, we got our monthly meeting at noon. So I gotta go set up and get everything ready.
Okay, yeah, no problem. No
You all
problem.
set? Do you have
Yeah.
anything else that you need me to do? I added all that stuff in there, so we should be good.
That's great. No, thank you. Appreciate
All
that.
right.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
So, yeah, thank you. Have a great meeting.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, how are we doing so far? I know we are just before noon here, but I figured I'd reach out and see if anybody has anything good that they want to report. We lost a lot of people there, so I'm hoping that people are actually doing their lead gen. I know I have 2 appointments. I've got one this afternoon at 5 and I got one Monday at 5. So good for me. I got that. That's good. What did everybody else do? What do we got? Anybody want to report anything?
I didn't get any appointments, but I got quite a few people in my command and I reached out to, I already did most of my phone people. So I've been reaching out to people on Facebook, like Messenger, and getting my app out and stuff. So I did a lot of that.
Yeah, I don't think that this has to be limited to phone calls and doing all that. I mean, social media is a great way to do it. And think of it this way too. I mean, if you naturally are somebody who goes into Facebook Messenger and that's how you communicate, then use that. You know, if you're using something that's really not something you normally do, then don't do it. What else? How did everybody else do? Anybody run into a situation where they weren't sure? Maybe they ran into an objection, or maybe they ran into something that they're not sure about? Nope. Okay. Well, hopefully it was productive. Hopefully people have actually had conversations, a majority of there, with folks that are out there, because this is basically going to be, you know, what you do as your activity day in and day out. Whether you're super swamped and you got a ton of people that you're working with, or it's something where, you know, maybe you don't and you're actually going to just, you know, be focused on that. You know, this is essential. This is vital to the continuation of your business, to the start of your business, to whatever it is. And it's something that we should get used to. And that comes from confidence. How do you get the confidence? You get the confidence from knowledge. The knowledge is the scripts. Read the scripts, understand them, know them. Go out there, role play with other folks, and then make the calls, get the experience. Confidence comes from learning the scripts and actually going out and having conversations with people. And you'll find yourself, you'll be talking to people and you'll just throw in real estate and it just seems so natural, okay? You don't lead with the real estate, you just throw it in the conversation. When you're talking to people and you say, hey, well, what do you do for a living? Somebody you met. What are they going to ask you?
What you do.
Right. Great way to segue into real estate, right? Everybody's interested in real estate. You know, somebody says, hey, how's the market? Well, it depends. You buying or selling? Right? Always find ways to bring it up. We actually have somebody who, she works third shift in a hospital. And she's like, you know, I don't know how to bring it up to my coworkers. I said, all right, so if she's in a room and she's monitoring patients and so forth. I said, all right, well, what sort of interaction do you have with coworkers? I said, well, they come in every once in a while and, you know, they monitor things along with me, or they'll ask how I'm doing, or they'll, you know, give me a break or something like that or whatever. I'm like, okay, all right. So next time they come in and they ask how you're doing, just tell them, say like, terrible. So why would you say that? It's like, oh, well, you know, say like, listen, you know, I'm having a, you know, tough time. I'm working with a lot of buyers. We can't find homes right now. And, you know, being an agent in this market with buyers is really difficult. What do you think happens? You know, that employee, that coworker is going to be like, oh, I didn't know you had your real estate license. Oh, well, tell me more about that. Oh, okay, great. Well, that's weird, because you expect somebody to say like, oh, how you doing? Good. All right, just carry on. No big deal, right? It's a pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupt. And gets them to stop and actually talk to you about that. Different ways like that. Have those conversations. Bonnie, how about you? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I actually got one appointment while we were doing the calling, which was great. And I actually sent my app out to 2 people, and one of them sent one back and saying, you know what, I just saw a house that I was interested in. So they text me back. So it works. And so you just have to remember to follow up, make the calls, make the text, however you communicate with people. Communicate to the best.
Yeah, the fortune's in the follow-up. Very rarely are you going to get an appointment on that first call. It's the follow-up that's going to do it. And when you're lead generating, you want to consider this. What you want to do is you want to have constant communication with those people in your sphere of influence that are in your database, so that you build that wall around them, so that they're not going to anybody else for real estate advice or real estate transactions. And then think about, all right, how do I add new people to that? I've got 30, 50, 100 people in my database. How do I add more to it? Who am I going to reach out to? How am I going to go out and do that? And you want to grow that database, so all of a sudden it becomes just a machine that's throwing off referrals and business, and you're good to go at that point. And it doesn't take much. Some of the top producers in our market center have anywhere from maybe 600 to 800 dedicated clients that they have in their database. And these are cappers, regular cappers. Doesn't take much. Does not take much.
And I have to say, it's the brave ones that stuck around and did the work.
Yeah, absolutely. These are going to be the people that are going to be teaching Ignite down the road too. And
Absolutely.
You're going to be showing agents what they need to do to be successful. Yeah. Everybody else who bailed to watch the next round of whatever is on Netflix right now.
Yeah. And don't forget to write the notes. People love to receive the note, you know, handwritten note. Thank you.
There you go.
Perfect. I love that, Amy. That's great. You know, thank you so much for taking my call. I would love the opportunity to work with you.
Yeah.
Include a card, whatever. But, you know, the follow-up, as Darren and I have really tried to drive home, follow-up is your key.
Yeah, this business is simple, but it's not easy, right? The bulldog, it's simple, but not easy. You know, why do you think that 80% of the people are going to be out of this business in 2 years? Because they don't want to put in the work. You know, everybody here who's putting in the work, you're going to reap the rewards. Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Real estate's a cycle, as we know, and we're just in a different kind of cycle right now. After 36 years in this business, I've seen several cycles, but I'm still here, still working, still following up, still getting leads. And, you know, that's the name of this business, helping people design their lifestyle and move them on.
You got it. You got it. Well said. Well said. Anybody have any other questions at all? Everybody good? All right, great. Well, Bonnie, thank you for the help today. I appreciate it. It was great teaching with you. And, you know, if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to either one of us, and we'll be glad to help you out here too.
Excellent.
Much.
All right, thanks everybody. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks, Darren. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.